Right, so I'm out here in the, looks like the woods. I'm not really in the woods though. I'm actually at a church. I don't know if you guys could see it. There's the church back there. It's a nice little lakefront piece of real estate they got here. This is Lake Lefferts here. And I'm locked out of my house. So I decided to just take a walk while I wait for my wife to get home, and figured that I would take a look at Exodus 26 while we're at it and film a quick video. So we see in Exodus 26, it's kind of one of those chapters I'm going to admit I'm kind of looking at, and I'm like, oh, I really just kind of want to breeze through this chapter and get it over with, because it just sounds like a bunch of interior designing. It sounds like, you're watching Chip Gaines and Joanna Gaines on TV, and they're redoing a house or designing a house and have all these specific requirements, and they're talking about different materials and thread and curtains and the size of the curtains and all those things. And I know I've said it before, he's a very specific God. He gives detail, and it's great that we have this detail, so generations after the Israelites had built the tabernacle, we could reconstruct it with our minds. We could draw it on paper. We could, imagine what it looked like. And, there's value in that, in knowing what it looked like. But there's also just value in the fact that we're looking at a chapter where God's moving in. It's like he freed his people. They're free from Egypt now. And God's moving in. He's like, all right, well, I'm going to come dwell with you now. Let's live together. Let's move in together. Let's start a relationship. And, it's not just any relationship. He made a covenant. So, he views Israel as, his bride, really. So they're moving in together, and they're preparing a place for God. And God is decorating. He's, not just decorating for the sake of decorating, but he's saying, this is what our relationship is going to look like. This is what my house is going to look like. This is what it's going to look like when you're in my presence. This is what it's going to look like when you come before me. And, without having a ton of knowledge on how things looked back then, I would imagine that this is not ordinary. I would imagine that what God is, all these specific instructions are not ordinary, that you're not going to find anything else that looks like this. You're not going to find another place where you have, these curtains and the specific designs and colors and everything that he's outlining. It's kind of like when a country decides, hey, these are the colors of my flag, and we're going to make it our own flag. We're not going to, copy another country's flag. God's like, this is going to be my house, and this is where I'm going to dwell with you. So this is more, this chapter is more to me than just, interior decorating. It's intimacy. It's God spending time with his people and coming to dwell with them. And this is what happens when two people move in together. What's one of the first things that they do? They start to decorate. They start to go throughout their home and say, well, where do I want this photo of us? And, where do we want the TV? Where do we want the bed? And I think that, it's just part of the intimacy. It's part of the intimacy of moving in together and making the place your own. And what God is doing is he's making his house his own with the Hebrew people, with the Israelites. It's going to be their place where they meet, where they come together. And, time should be invested into that. It's not just something they can just breeze over. God's not just looking to breeze over it, because that's an intimate part of what it means to cohabitate. And that's really what's happening here, is God is cohabitating with his people. So, man, this is so cool being out here. I'm kind of blessed, I guess, that I locked myself out. I'm about to go to my discipleship group tonight, and instead I'm out here filming a cool video, just getting to take in the lake while the raindrops come down. It's a little bit of rain, but I'm kind of protected by the trees right now. Beautiful lake. Too bad there's not too many bass in it. There's lots of pickerel. But all right, guys, I'm gonna start walking back. I think my wife should be getting back soon, but that's it for Exodus 26. I'll see you guys for the next chapter.